Hey there, I'm Tori Soar, and welcome back to Sins and Wins, where we look at the 5 highest and 5 lowest rated episodes of a show and determine if they are a sin against the series or a win for it. Today we are covering LEGO Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu, which ran from January 14th, 2011 to April 19th, 2019. For this first Ninjago Sins and Wins video, I am only covering the Masters of Spinjitzu era of the series, which goes up through season 10. The biggest reason I decided to do this was the shift from 22-minute episodes to 11-minute episodes, and the difference in the way these two eras of the show are paced would make comparing them difficult. I also wanted to do each of these eras justice by showcasing the highs and lows of both. So this is going to be part 1 of Sins and Wins for Ninjago as a whole. But with that, let's get into the first sin. Sin number 5 is season 7 episode 5, A Line in the Sand, from May 19th, 2017 with a 7.2 out of 10. The Vermilion are continuing their quest to obtain as much metal as possible and decide their next target will be Mega Monster Amusement Park. Worried about his parents since their junkyard would likely be targeted as well, Jay runs off to go protect them. Another time blade appears, so the ninja and Vermilion all go to find it, ending up trapped in a time bubble, from which Jay helps liberate his fellow ninja and the time blade. I think this episode is a great representation of the issues I have with season 7 as a whole, in the way it's just really boring sometimes. There's a second season 7 episode on this list that I think is worse in this regard, but the biggest reasons I'm so bored is I really don't care about these antagonists, and the character writing in general just feels off. It's so weird that Jay runs off to make sure his family's okay, but just doesn't tell anyone.
He's the one who took off from wherever without saying a word to us.
I'm sure he had a good reason.
Because obviously, if the Vermilion are targeting the junkyard to get all of this metal, the other ninja should probably know about it, considering they're trying to stop them. It's especially frustrating that the other ninja are so unbothered about Jay running off. They're just like, oh, that was kind of weird. Anyway, and when they see that Edna's been kidnapped, they're like,
they have Jay's mom!
That must be why Jay left so suddenly.
Like, why did they just not put any thought or care into why Jay ran off? It's so strange. In general, I also just do not care for the Vermilion as antagonists. This show loves to use snakes as antagonists, and because of this, there's very much a feeling of, oh great, they're doing snakes again. And I think I got that feeling the most from these guys. I do think Makia's kind of fun, and it's such a silly bit the way Acronix is like, wait, why is she kind of hot? But then turns around to say,
deep down, she's a pile of snare.
There are a few other small things I enjoyed from this episode, like Ed trying his best to make Jay a cool bike, and the two of them working together to make it actually functional, which is absolutely adorable. And Jay using his lightning powers to speed through the time bubble and save his friends was really cool. But honestly, this episode just barely falls below a pass because I found it so genuinely uninteresting. It's not awful, but I am still going to label it as a sin. Win number 5 is season 4 episode 10, The Corridor of Elders, from April 3rd, 2015 with a 9.3 out of 10. Now backed by his army of Anacondri warriors, Chen terrorizes the people of Ninjago, and our heroes must regroup in order to defeat him. With the assistance of Tiny Pythor, Garmadon sacrifices himself in order to free the spirits of Pythor's Anacondri ancestors from the cursed realm to banish the dishonorable duplicates that Chen has created. The Tournament of Elements is one of my all-time favorite seasons of Ninjago, and this finale is really solid. I do have a few minor nitpicks, like Misako and Wu continuing to piss me off with their bullshit.
You're no sensei, and you've never been one!
Obviously, I get both of them being upset with Garmadon for giving Wu's letter to Misako and claiming it as his own, but let's not forget he was literally corrupted by evil when he did so. What's your excuse for abandoning your son for his entire life at a boarding school for evil boys, Misako? The other thing that has a bit less to do with this episode specifically, but season 4 as a whole, is how I think Skylar's arc could have been handled way better. I think she and Kai are cute, but I don't think they made their romance believable enough to justify her switching sides so quickly. But Skylar's a really cool character, and she and Kai are iconic in their own ways this season, so I can forgive that for the most part. One thing I absolutely adore from this season is Pythor's role. After him being an absolute flop last season, to have him being an unwilling pawn in Chen's evil scheme and reluctant temporary ally to the ninja in order to defeat him was delightful.
If anyone is going to take over this world, I'd rather it be me.
In general, it was so fun how they played with him being tiny this season, from his little dollhouse to the hamster wheel, and from the finale specifically, him riding in on Rodrigo to bring the book to the heroes.
Come on, Rodrigo! They need our help!
I genuinely wish we got more of Pythor later on in the series because he's such an iconic staple of the early seasons. And while I did enjoy him in Crystallized, he was just part of a bigger ensemble there, so he didn't get to shine as much as he did in season 1 and here in season 4. The other major thing from this episode that's so heartbreaking but so well done is Garmadon's sacrifice. Garmadon is my favorite Ninjago character for all of the roles he plays throughout the series, but at his core he is a loving father, and that is so beautifully illustrated in these final moments with his family. I really appreciate how Lloyd initially storms off because he's angry with his father for leaving him again after just getting him back and finally reforming that bond, but after he has that moment of angst, Lloyd returns to send his father off. And the send-off is just so beautiful. Garmadon really is just the best dad ever.
I yearn to make the world in my image. I never realized I already had in you.
The Corridor of Elders absolutely deserves its label as a win. It's a great finale to a fantastic season. Sin number 4 is the Day of the Departed special from October 29th, 2016 with a 7.1 out of 10. The ninja are out celebrating the Day of the Departed, Ninjago's version of Halloween mixed with elements of holidays like Dia de los Muertos, and while visiting the museum, Cole approaches a painting of Yang, angry about being turned into a ghost. Yang seizes this opportunity to trick Cole into bringing him the Yin Blade, allowing Yang to bring back spirits from the ninja's past in order to terrorize them as he attempts to free himself from his ghostly prison. Samukai, Pythor, Kozu, Cryptor, and Chen all set off to get their revenge, while Moro instead warns Wu of Yang's plan and helps them remember Cole before he fades away. After Cole explains to Yang that he will always be remembered as the inventor of air jitsu, Yang helps Cole cross through the rift that had already freed his students, and Cole is able to return to his mortal body. Y'all, why the fuck is Day of the Departed one of the lowest rated episodes? It does have a few issues, like I think Yang's redemption here felt a bit rushed. However, that's kind of just a product of a 44-minute special needing to be a bit quicker paced. But this special is delightful for so many reasons. Now, I've only recently started getting involved in the Ninjago fandom, so I don't have a firm grasp on what the general consensus is for a lot of things in the series. However, I did hear that some people aren't a fan of Day of the Departed because it's too fan servicey, which is really silly to me. Like, sure, Day of the Departed brings back antagonists from all previous seasons, including the pilot, which is inherently fanservice-y. But fanservice exists because it's fun, and this special is a lot of fun in the way that it brings back all of these antagonists. Unfortunately, due to how short the special is, there's only so much time that can be dedicated to each of the battles, but I think the special did a pretty good job of giving each battle a fun showcase. I do have a few nitpicks with the pairings, like Samukai being paired up with Jay for some reason, when I think Nia would have been much more suitable. I think it would have especially been fun to explore how Nia has evolved up to this point, initially being damseled by Samukai, but now being another one of the ninja. Kai is the one that makes the most sense to pair with Chen, so I get why they didn't give him and Nia to Samukai together, but why not Nia? If they wanted to commit to the bit of nobody wanting to fight Jay, they could have, and then have Nia swoop in and the two of them kick Samukai's ass together. Zane definitely got the most boring antagonist to be paired against, since Cryptor is basically just a generic ninjroid, but it really is the best pairing for Zane since season 3 was his season, and him facing his own clone makes a lot of sense. And they couldn't really throw in the Overlord as his match, so they had to settle for a Ninjroid. But I much prefer a generic Ninjroid to the Overlord anyway. I personally think the Overlord kinda sucks. However, the rest of the pairings were really fun and fitting. Cole is dealing with Yang and his students since that's the entire motivation of the special. Obviously, Pythor gets paired with Lloyd since Pythor was on his manipulation grind with Lloyd when he was still a little kid. Speaking of Pythor, Day of the Departed and the comic immediately following it, Pythor's Revenge, are the last time we see him until Crystallized 9 seasons later. And yet Misako gets to be present for practically the entire series. Don't piss me off. Kozu and the Stone Warriors get sent after Dareth because he controlled them in the season 2 finale, which is honestly hilarious. And since Pythor is dealing with Lloyd, Moro is sent after Wu, but he instead chooses to help him and the ninja, which I really liked. Most of the time, with the exception of quick redemptions like Skylar or Garmadon's whole thing being a journey towards redemption, the villains in this series stay villains. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and it makes things like Day of the Departed and Crystallized so fun. However, for Moro to use his time back in Ninjago to do good before voluntarily returning to the Cursed Realm was very refreshing. In my first watch through of the series, I did generally like Moro, but after recently rewatching Possession, I get why he's such a fan favorite character. He's cool as hell, and I really enjoy all of the ways they highlight him trying to be better in his afterlife. Even if Day of the Departed bringing back all of these villains is fan service, I don't care. I'm a fan, and I'm being served some good shit. Speaking of good shit, especially with how little focus Cole has gotten in recent years, Dragons Rising, it's so nice to have this special with Cole as the main character. Garmadon is my favorite character in Ninjago, but Cole is my favorite of the ninja. So I'm always delighted when he gets the showcase and respect he deserves when it's lacking in a lot of other places. And although I did complain earlier about the way Yang's moment of redemption felt kind of fast, I love how it highlighted how good-hearted Cole is. Though it is kind of hilarious how Cole is like, you'll always be remembered as the creator of Air Jitsu, when nowadays Air Jitsu's existence has been completely forgotten. Outside of the special being generally fun, there are a few really good bits throughout it.
Jen.
Python.
I already mentioned how I think it's hilarious that Kozu and the Stone Warriors are sent after Dareth to get revenge on him for controlling them in the season 2 finale, but Dareth also has this one line about why he doesn't have any kids, which perfectly highlights what a flop he is.
Nah, kids, always letting you down. That's why I don't have them. Not because Gale keeps turning down my marriage proposals, even though I'd make an excellent provider.
I adore Dareth in part because he's a flop, but he's also not wrong about being an excellent provider. From what we see with his students and the way he protects the kids on the field trip in season 3, Dareth would make a fantastic dad. Even though I complain about Samukai being paired with Jay, there's a great bit where the skeletons just stand next to Jay's parents to watch the fight before Samukai yells at them. It's so silly and so very Ninjago. I also adored Ronan's role in the special, the way he sees this holiday as the perfect opportunity to rob Jay's parents blind.
Yeah, I came to help. I definitely didn't think your folks would be at the concert, so I could, borrow some free scrap metal for my mech.
It's also super sweet how Ed and Edna turn around to tell Ronan all he needs to do is ask and he can have whatever he needs. They really are such sweethearts. Overall, the Day of the Departed special is delightful. I wouldn't consider it one of the greatest episodes of Ninjago ever, but it's really fun and charming and deserves to be called a win. I really don't understand why it's rated so low. Win number 4 is Season 8, Episode 9, True Potential, from May 24th, 2018, with a 9.3 out of 10. Although the ceremony attempting to bring back Garmadon was stopped by the ninja, he's been successfully returned to Ninjago and frees Harumi and the Sons of Garmadon from prison. Lloyd tries desperately to reconnect with his father, who's been lost to the purest evil parts of his soul. True Potential is a very iconic episode for the simple reason that it brings back the one and only Lord Garmadon. I've mentioned multiple times already that Garmadon is my favorite character, and although a significant reason why he is my favorite is all the ways in which he's a good person, he still makes a really fun antagonist when they lean into him being pure evil, and I would much rather have an irredeemable Garmadon than no Garmadon at all. It's so heartbreaking that Lloyd is forced to face his father again, but this time with all of the love in Garmadon's heart shoved away in favor of him reaching his true potential. However, I am so here for the drama, and it's really fun having Garmadon as this major antagonist again with the twist of him being irredeemable. One small thing I absolutely adored from this episode was the ninja singing The Weekend Whip together at the start. That was so cute.
Hey, here comes. They say go slow, and everything just stands so still.
I will say, I have no idea if this is a popular or controversial opinion, but I do not care for Harumi at all. Like, she sort of just feels like another Skylar in the way that she's intended to be a twist villain, but at least Skylar has a compelling personality, whereas Harumi is just obnoxious to me. Garmadon acts like a cartoon villain in a way that's fun and charming, while Harumi acts like a cartoon villain in a way that's just annoying.
Sons of Garmadon! No longer shall I be the quiet one! No longer shall I be silent!
I've always felt like her motivations were really silly and didn't make a lot of sense. Like, maybe if she just had one season being an antagonist before seeing the error of her ways, I would like her a bit more. However, they don't do that in the Oni trilogy and completely butchered it in Crystallized, but that's a discussion for a whole other day. Genuinely, the only reason I find Harumi tolerable in the Oni trilogy is the Sons of Garmadon in general are really cool. Honestly, I would have loved them so much more if Harumi didn't exist and Ultraviolet was the main driving force of the plot, because she is iconic. Harumi is the reason we have Garmadon again, so I can't exactly bring myself to hate her, but she just isn't a compelling character, and I've never cared about her relationship with Lloyd either. Speaking of Lloyd, he low-key was pissing me off a bit in this episode. Like, I swear to God, every season Lloyd has a moment where he gets all angsty and runs off to confront someone by himself without relying on his team, and I'm so sick of it.
Wu's mistake was going it alone. So was mine. I'm supposed to be fighting alongside my friends.
Like, I get him doing it in the early seasons and him learning that lesson as he's training to be the Green Ninja, but the problem is he doesn't really learn his lesson because then he does shit like locking the rest of his team in a room so they don't follow him as he goes to confront Garmadon alone. Lloyd, I generally like you a lot, but you really love to challenge me sometimes. True Potential just barely gets a win from me because it is iconic with the return of Garmadon, who absolutely radiates aura the entire time, but Harumi and Lloyd really made it close because they irritate me a lot. If you made it this far in the video, you're probably a fan of LEGO to some extent, so please consider supporting the LEGO Ideas project my friend and I made of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Technodrome. It's completely free to do so. Link is in the description. Thank you for your support, and let's get back to Ninjago. Sin number 3 is Season 2, Episode 2, Pirates vs. Ninja, from July 25th, 2012, with a 7 out of 10. After the ninja find a new place for Lloyd to train as the Green Ninja, they come face to face with Captain Soto and his pirate crew, summoned by Garmadon using the Mega Weapon. I find Captain Soto and his crew to be absolutely delightful in this episode. I think it's so silly and whimsical the way they refer to the ninja as Pajama Man, as well as this moment where they attack a bus because they think it's a creature. In general, the fact that the pirates were created entirely by accident by Garmadon, but then they just exist in this universe now, is so fun and silly. The ninja's pirate disguises are also iconic. Cole especially slayed this outfit. I was initially surprised this was one of the lowest rated episodes because I've always found the pirates and their related plots really fun and charming. However, rewatching it, I kinda get it since it's not as interesting of an episode as it could be. I think the biggest reason it is so lowly rated might be that it's the episode that introduces Dareth, who a lot of people hate for some reason, even though he's an absolute gem of a character. Like, how can you not find this absolute flop of a man endearing? He puts on a front of being full of himself, but is genuinely such a sweet person at his core. I think the best illustration of the way Dareth's egotism is just an act is when he challenges the ninja to defeat him for the right to train in his dojo, but as soon as he's defeated by Kai using Spinjitzu, he immediately says,
"You can train in my dojo anytime."
Unless this man commits some heinous crime in the future, I am always going to defend him because I find him so endearing. The other main thing of note from this episode is Lloyd does Spinjitzu for the first time, but it's pretty anticlimactic, especially because no one really seems to notice or care. In general, this episode is a great showcase of how far the fight choreography has come in this show, because even the main battle of the episode was really not that exciting to watch. Pirates vs. Ninja is just an okay episode. I don't think it's bad, but there are definitely far more interesting episodes, so it gets a pass. Win number 3 is Season 2, Episode 13, Rise of the Spinjitzu Master, from November 21st, 2012, with a 9.5 out of 10. The ninja return to the Temple of Light and discover a golden mech that belonged to the first Spinjitzu Master. With Lloyd's new mech and the help of the Ultra Dragon, the ninja return to Ninjago City to stop the Overlord once and for all. Like with Season 4, the Season 2 finale is such a great ending to a very solid season. The entire series up to this point has been leading up to this confrontation between the Green Ninja and Lord Garmadon, or more specifically the Overlord, and Lloyd unlocking his golden ninja power was iconic as hell. As much as I don't care for the Overlord, I don't mind him in the context of Season 2, and his big dragon form is genuinely freaky but so cool. And of course Garmadon is saved, cured of his evil, and reunites with his family. I'm so glad he's going to live happily ever after and never have to fight his son again. Kinda unrelated to this episode specifically, but the Season 2 ninja outfits are some of my absolute favorites. The mostly black uniforms with the colored accents and sleeves are just so gorgeous. Also, once again, Dareth is that fucking guy. I love how he got to participate in this battle by commanding the Stone Warriors, since he doesn't have the same skills to participate in any other way. I think it's so sweet how Kai lets Dareth hold his blade for a moment as a symbol that he's one of them going into the final battle. It goes to show that Dareth has all the right spirit to be a hero. I'm so glad he got to shine like this as he deserves. I didn't expect to talk so much about my love for Dareth in this video, but he's an icon and I adore him. Rise of the Spinjitzu Master is such a great conclusion to the main story of the original seasons and absolutely qualifies as a win for the series. Sin number 2 is Season 2, Episode 3, Double Trouble, from August 1st, 2012, with a 7 out of 10. With the new understanding that the Mega Weapon can only be used to create, Garmadon creates evil clones of the 4 ninja, who follow the real ninja to Darkley's boarding school for bad boys, where the students have overthrown the teachers and seek to make Lloyd their new leader. I think Double Trouble is a lot of fun fun in concept, but not so much in execution. The evil clones trope is always a lot of fun, and this episode was generally enjoyable as a result, but it really doesn't do much with the trope that makes it stand out above any of the other dozens of evil clone episodes from decades of cartoons. And the main fight between the ninja and their clones is just okay. Really, the one unique scene that results from this trope is Clone Jay going to get the car from Nia, and him forcing a kiss on her was so gross and unnecessary. Like, I guess at least Nia was kinda into it, but still, ew. Also, it's really embarrassing how quickly Wu is defeated by the clones. Like, obviously narratively they needed to be sure Wu couldn't interfere, but realistically he should not have been taken down this easily. Despite the main concept of this episode just being okay, I thought there were a lot of great little moments. The entire concept of Darkly's boarding school for bad boys is so ridiculous, but I find it to be a lot of fun, and Lloyd pretending to be evil the entire time is really funny.
My friends, of course! The evil ninja!
Also, the fact that one of the boys is named Brad to the bone. This show is so silly sometimes. I love how camp this episode is in that regard.
I'm good, but guess what? So's Brad. That's a lie!
I also really enjoyed the bit at the start where Garmadon is asking for suggestions on how to use the mega weapon and keeps throwing the serpentine over the side.
Can you create a giant ham sandwich?
A poison giant ham sandwich?
I would hope not. I'm so hungry.
This episode also leaned into Cole's obsession with cake, which is one of my favorite recurring bits from the series.
I love ceremonies. That means there's gonna be cake. There's not gonna be cake! That wouldn't mean cake, now would it?
We also got the iconic bit of Zane being turned into a battering ram from this episode.
Battering ram activated.
Outside of those little moments, Double Trouble is just alright. I'm gonna give it a pass because I don't think it qualifies as a sin by any means, but it definitely is a weaker episode. Win number 2 is Season 9, Episode 10, Green Destiny, from August 25th, 2018, with a 9.6 out of 10. After returning from the First Realm, Wu and the ninja reunite with their allies and work together to take down Garmadon's Colossus while Lloyd confronts his father once more. Green Destiny is just another really solid season finale that speaks for itself for the most part. This fight between Lloyd and Garmadon contrasts very nicely with the one in True Potential, since Lloyd is holding his ground much better both physically and emotionally. The entire arc of Lloyd losing his powers and then regaining them by refusing to fight his father is really well done, and a beautiful representation of how, even when Garmadon has only had his evil brought back, his bond with Lloyd is where the true power lies. Outside of that fight, everyone else working together to take down the Colossus was really enjoyable. I love the bit where Cole asks who of us is stupid enough to jump on that thing, and Kai responds,
Cole, say no more.
I love how especially later in the series, Kai knows exactly what he's about. I also adored the Elemental Masters, Ronan, Pixel, and the others being freed from Cryptarium and joining in on the fight to finally take the Colossus down. Pixel and Zane continue to be adorable, by the way. It is a constant fight between them and Jaya as my favorite ship from the series because they're both so cute. Speaking of ships, I love the ending where it shows all of the ninja with their respective love interests, and then it pans to Cole making eye contact with the cake. It's so funny. I don't have much else to say. Green Destiny is a very solid episode and definitely deserves its label as a win. The worst episode of LEGO Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu, according to IMDb, is Season 7, Episode 4, Scavengers, from May 18th, 2017, with a 7 out of 10. With Wu rapidly aging after being time-punched, Lloyd must take over as temporary master in training. Meanwhile, the Vermilion are taking as much metal from Ninjago City as possible, and the ninja step in to stop them with a newly rebooted Zane. Like I mentioned with A Line in the Sand, my issue with this episode is it's just boring. It very much just feels like a stepping stone in the overall plot of the season, with Wu explaining he's running out of time after being time punched and Lloyd struggling with adopting the role of master as a result, which I guess is a fun mini arc for Lloyd to undergo, but it also ties into my other issues with Season 7 where the character writing feels off. Like, why are Cole, Jay, and Kai so rude and dismissive of Lloyd as their temporary master? It goes beyond their typical goofball poking fun and starts moving towards them just being mean. Also, this episode has the classic Master Wu being a pain in the ass and not giving the ninja the full picture. I generally enjoy Wu because he serves his role in the series fairly effectively, but man is it ridiculous how often he just keeps secrets from the ninja. Also, Misako telling Lloyd,
"May I tell you a secret? Master Wu makes mistakes too. The true measure of a leader is not whether he makes mistakes, it is whether he learns from them."
Master Wu has really not been shown to be the best at learning from mistakes, which is exemplified by the fact that he counters Misako by saying,
I do not make a lot
of mistakes.
Misako, I still hate your bitch ass and hate to agree with you, but you are right that making mistakes is kinda what Wu is best at. This episode wasn't a total drag. There's a fun little bit with Nia trying to figure out how to fix Zane while Pixel is fighting for her life trying to do the same.
Maybe what you need is...
Don't say a new binary power core.
a new binary power core!
And we get some more Dareth and Ronan, who I absolutely adore, like I've mentioned several times already.
Someone stole my trophy!
I have an alibi.
But I am still going to give this episode a sin. Like I mentioned before, I don't find the Vermilion to be compelling antagonists, and Scavengers is just all around really boring. As far as bad episodes go, I don't find it to be too offensive, but it's definitely a weak point in the series. The best episode of LEGO Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu, according to IMDb, is Season 3 Episode 8, The Titanium Ninja, from November 26th, 2014, with a 9.6 out of 10. Working together to repair their spaceship and return to Ninjago, the ninja must now face the Overlord once again. When the shrinking pill intended to defeat the Overlord is intercepted by Pythor, Zane sacrifices himself to stop him, saving his friends and all of Ninjago. I have a lot of issues with Season 3, but I think this was a good conclusion to its story, especially with the way they handled Zane's sacrifice. The best part of Season 3 is the way it focuses on Zane, and the sacrifice is so emotionally beautiful it makes me cry every time. Even though I obviously know it isn't a permanent death, the flashbacks of him spending time with his friends and family hits really hard. Zane's funeral is also really sweet. Kai gives such a beautiful speech, and the snow at the end really ties it all together. Because of how beautiful this ending is, I am going to give the Titanium Ninja a win. However, that is the only reason I am giving it a win and not a pass, because otherwise this episode is not that good. I'm not going to spend too much time complaining about my issues with this finale because they mostly tie into my issues with Rebooted as a whole, but the main issue that I've alluded to throughout this video is I think the Overlord sucks. He feels like such a generic villain, and I only ever found him vaguely compelling in Season 2. I will say, as much as I hate the Overlord, I think his cape looks sick as hell. This man has style. I find it kind of silly that the only plan to defeat the Overlord was to give him the shrinking pill, and they had no backup plan, which is what brings Zane to sacrifice himself. It's nice that we got to have Garmadon and Wu working together to execute this plan, but I think it's dumb that they put all of their eggs in one basket here. There's a good chance I'll make a video reviewing Season 3 as a whole in the future because I really want to get into all of the issues I have with it, but now isn't really the time for that. Despite these issues, I think the Titanium Ninja is a pretty good episode with a fantastic ending, and while I strongly disagree that this is the best episode of Ninjago, it still deserves to be called a win for Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu. But that does it for this video. Do you agree that these are the best and worst episodes of Masters of Spinjitzu, or are there any episodes that you are surprised didn't make the cut? I was generally pretty surprised by the lowest rated episodes in particular, because even the ones I labeled as sins I don't think were that bad. I am shocked that there weren't any Season 3 episodes in there, because that has easily always been my least favorite season, and other than the Titanium Ninja, all of Season 3 would probably have gotten a pass at best. It's been a while since I watched Season 7, but both of them have a similar issue where it's not that the episodes are insufferable, they're just kinda boring. But Season 3 has an extra special little something called the love triangle, which makes it actively painful to watch at times. However, Ninjago is a fairly consistently good show, in part due to how serialized it is, and the way each season is pretty short and its own contained arc. I think when we get to seasons 11 through 15, we'll probably see more justified sins due to there being more filler in those seasons. But I'm also really excited to talk about those seasons because there are some genuinely fantastic episodes, including my favorite season finale in the entirety of Ninjago. So make sure to subscribe so you can catch that Sins and Wins video when it comes out. As I've been rewatching Ninjago from front to back, I'm strongly considering doing a season by season review of the entire series. It's something I've considered doing for other shows I'm a fan of as well, but a lot of them have 26 episode seasons, which means taking notes and writing an entire script for them would take a lot of time, whereas Ninjago is very easy to break down into its bite-sized pieces that are its seasons. So let me know if that's something you would be interested in. Regardless, I will probably make videos talking about Rebooted and Season 4 of Dragons Rising when it comes out, because based on the trailer, it looks like it's gonna be pretty good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and hype if you did. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. I hope y'all like the little Lego display behind me of all the Ninjago sets I own. I'm gonna give y'all a little tour. So first we have the new Legacy Monastery display. I think this set is so good. Like, what do you mean I get all of the Ninja plus Wu for $45? I love this set so much. I decided to put my Pixel minifigure next to Zane, and I decided to put Dareth on the stand here just for this video. Again, I was not expecting to talk about Dareth so much, but he is an icon. From the pilot, I have the Skull motorbike set, which comes with Jay. Unfortunately, many years ago, one of Jay's legs broke off, so it is glued in place. but I otherwise still have all the pieces to this set, and I think it's really cute. From season 1, I have Lasha's Bite Cycle. I actually got this one recently as a gift from a friend, and it comes with Cole, my favorite of the ninja. It's really nice having a season 1 Cole figure because I do really like the gold on the new figures, but I'm just such a sucker for the silver. I think it looks great. From season 2, I have Garmatron, which is unfortunately missing quite a few pieces. You may notice a black plate missing from this side, and Kozu doesn't have his legs, so I just gave him some black ones. And I'm missing one of the studs for the door. But the biggest tragedy is the stuff that's missing from Zane, which is his elemental blade. Tragic, because that's kind of a staple of season 2. And I also don't have his head, so this is what we're rocking with for Zane right now. But only missing 5 pieces from this set isn't too bad. I unfortunately don't own any season 3 sets, but it's not the end of the world because it is my least favorite season, which is why I'm so glad they made this new Pixel figure for the anniversary, because I love Pixel so much. She's probably my favorite part of season 3. And then from season 4, I have Jay's Electromech, which comes with Chop, which is a lot of fun. I adore Chop and Kapow in season 4. You may notice the Electromech's arms are longer than they should be because I could not for the life of me find the proper arm joints for this figure. My guess is these belong to a Captain America set that my brother owns, but we can't find that set anywhere, and I'm guessing the correct joints for this set are probably with it. But other than that, the Electromech is really cool. It so obviously just exists for this toy, but I'm not mad at it. It is a very cool looking mech. And finally, the greatest Ninjago Lego set I own, Coal Car. I love this little car so much. It makes me so happy that they have such a cheap little set for my favorite ninja. It's so cute. I love Coal Car so much. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tour of my little Ninjago collection. It's so wild to have had a lot of these sets for years, but now that I am a Ninjago fan, they just mean so much more to me now. I do really want to get the Old Town set, but it's $300 and that's a lot. Maybe I'll get it for my birthday. If not a gift from someone else, I'll purchase it for myself because it's just such a cool set. Anyway, that's it for this video. Bye-bye!